Hello everyone, Martin Hall coming to you from Ibis, the beautiful club at Ibis. It's in Florida, it's the Sunshine State. Not so very sunny today, got a bit of drizzle, but for those of you that have been watching the Build a Better Game series, we're going to do some more today. Golf is my passion, it is my love, it has been for a long time, and I want you to have a look at this 4 DVD series. It's my life's work, it's 38 years distilled into slightly over 4 hours of golf instruction. And even if you don't, I appreciate you watching today, and hang on in here because I'm definitely going to give you some meaty stuff today. We're going to start with the smash factor. What is the smash factor? Well, let me talk to my camera down the line here. The smash factor. The smash factor is the relationship between your club head speed and ball speed. When people want to hit the ball farther, it's about ball speed. So I'm going to show you from this angle here, from the face on camera. Easy examples. Ball speed, if you optimize the contact, will be 1.5 times club head speed. That's optimum. That's the best on the PGA Tour. So let me give you an easy example. If your club was moving at 100 miles an hour and you hit it in the right place in the club, your ball speed would be 150 if you had a 1.5 smash factor. That's the best you can get. That's the very best that the manufacturers are allowed to give you. The USGA and the RNA won't let them go any farther. Now, a lot of players don't get that 1.5 smash factor. Now, there's a number of reasons. It could be that you're chopping down on the ball. It could be that you're swinging across the ball. But more often than not, it's because you're not hitting the ball on the correct place on the face. The correct place on the face. You need to hit the ball in the middle of the club, on the middle of the golf ball. Now, before we started filming here, I'm just going to come into this camera. I'm not going to have the camera zoom in, but I'm going to come into this camera, and you can see that on this club and this ball, I've put 2 dots. I've put a small red dot on the back of the ball, and I've put a small red dot on the club. And we're going to do a bit of dot-to-dot training. Those of you that are watching in England, I'm about to send you dotty bonkers. Anyway, that's another story. But dot to dot, if you can make a really good sweet spot contact, you have a good chance to maximize your smash factor. Understand this good and proper. Smash factor is not just club head speed. It's how much energy you get to the ball. In fact, sometimes people with slower club head speeds can hit the ball a lot farther than people with high club head speeds if they have a good smash factor. So here's how this little drill works. Here's how I mark the ball. I just got a little dot on the back of the ball, or put a little dot on the back of the ball there, and then I put a dot on the face. This is something you can rehearse at home. I am very, very big in this game of golf on doing things that are not difficult to do, but really do, what shall I say, give you some bang for your buck. So I'm going to put that dot right on the back of the ball there. It's going to go right there. That dot, you may not be able to see it because of the camera, but trust me, that dot is right on the back of the ball. Now, my little rehearsal, you could even do this at home, you could do it in the basement, you could do it anywhere you want. I've got the dot on the club face. I am not going to hit the ball to start with. I'm going to take the dot that's on the club face, I'm going to swing up, I'm going to swing down, and I'm going to stop 1 millimeter before the ball and see that I'm going dot to dot. Like that game you probably played as a kid where you'd have the 2 fingers touch. We don't want to miss the dots, because if you do that, you will not have a high smash factor, and no matter how fast you swing then, you will not hit the ball far. Look, people think it's all about club head speed. It isn't. It's ball speed that makes the difference. So here's my little drill. I do this on the range. I have all my students do this on the range. I'm going to go dot to dot. Improves the coordination, improves the focus. Dot, dot. Sir Nick Faldo once told me that he always picked a dimple on the back of the ball. Maybe one dimple on the inside of the ball, actually, Sir Nick said. He always watched that dimple very carefully. So I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'd say that's program me to hit in the middle, and while I've got that feel, then I'm just going to just go ahead and hit that one, and that certainly felt pretty much out of the middle. Yes, I can see the mark there. Dot to dot will help you hit the ball in the middle. If you're hitting it in the middle, there's a very good chance your smash factor could go up. Now, you don't have to swing at 120 miles an hour and get 180 mile an hour ball speed. In fact, you probably won't. That's sort of Bubba Watson level, Dustin Johnson level. But if you swung at 80 miles an hour, what's 80 times 1.5? You would want a ball speed of 120. It's just 1.5. The closer you get to 1.5 club head speed to ball speed, the better your smash factor. So that's got us going on this fairly lengthy session we're going to have together. I hope you stay with me all the time. You can drop in and out. I've got Debbie from Revolution Golf with me here. Good morning, good afternoon, I'm sorry, good afternoon. How are you? Nice to see you.
Very well, thank you. Thanks so much for doing this.
Oh, I'm happy to do that. Now, what have we got for the viewers today?
Well, first of all, we have thousands and thousands of questions pouring in from you viewers out there. We thank you so much for taking the time to write your questions in. A lot of them were the same, though.
Okay.
A lot of frustrations were very common. They kind of fit into categories. So instead of answering each one of them, we put them into categories. And you've already talked about what is the smash factor, because that was definitely a big one. So thank you for that. Next one is, I know you went over a little bit about the club head speed applied correctly.
Yeah, that really is a big thing. It sort of ties to the smash factor, but you know, my range here at the club at Ibis, I'm looking down there, we've got some golfers swinging away, just drizzling a tiny bit, but you can't stop golfers, we know that. And if I went down, there's about a dozen people hitting balls down there, and if I went down there and said, what do you think is the key to distance? Almost everybody would say club head speed. Like, well, you almost got it right, but you missed out a word. It's club head speed applied correctly. That is enormous, that last word. It's applied correctly. It's not just club head speed. Let me show you an example of club head speed applied very badly. Club head speed applied very badly might be someone who's hitting down on the ball a lot, chopping legs, chopping wood, stomping down on top of that ball. Club head speed applied very badly, if I can go to my down the line camera, might be someone who's coming down and they're way over the plane and they're swinging very much out to in. Club head speed applied very badly might be someone who's really hanging back and hitting up so much that they only hit the bottom of the golf club. So club head speed applied correctly. You can't have much of a glancing blow. To maximize your distance, you probably want a slight draw and a very slight upward hit. So let me just give you a couple of things. I promise you that as you watch this, I'm going to give you some tangible things to take away and try the very next time you play. To get the upward hit, well, a good part of that comes from the setup. And here's two simple things you can do in the setup to help you hit up, which will help you apply club head speed correctly. Number one, just take your driver, turn it upside down. This is not against the rules of golf. You can do this when you're playing. Put it just under your chin, bend forwards. Now just tilt your body sufficiently that grip will bump into your lead leg. For me, I'm a right-hander, so it's my left leg. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to bend forwards, that club will be right in the middle of my feet, and I'm going to tilt the body. Now when I tilt the body, what I'm really doing is tilting the spine and lowering that trail shoulder. Now that would be one thing. And the second thing I love to have people do to try and maximize that club head speed is to take the trail hand off the club and just reach down that trail leg a little bit, because that tilts me just a bit more. Now be very careful. This is not for a fairway wood. This is not for a 5-iron off the fairway. This is for the driver if you want to absolutely pulverize it. So here we go. Bending, tilting, reaching. Bending, tilting, reaching. Remember that. Bending, tilting, reaching down that trail leg. Now that's put me in a position where I feel like I'm in the Olympics. If there's someone there, I could be boxing. Bam! I could give them a knockout punch through the ball. So I'm bending, I'm tilting, I'm looking at the back of that ball. I'm going to try and go dot to dot. I'm going to really try and maximize my upward hit and my smash factor. Here we go. I feel a big one. It's going to be a good one. And that's about as hard as I can hit it, that's for sure. So it's club head speed applied correctly. That was a very good question, Debbie. Thank you. What else do we have today? We've got lots, haven't we?
I know. It's amazing. Especially they were so consistent. So these are the meat and potatoes of it. How do I swing the club faster? Okay, well now, everything I've said, and that happens to be a very nice order, I should do it. Everything I've said was club head speed applied correctly. Never did I say club head speed doesn't matter.
It does matter, but it has to be applied correctly. Here's one that really, really makes me laugh. One of my favorite programs on TV is Mythbusters, where people will just bust myths, you know, old cliches that seem to have been around for years and people accept them, and generally they're not. Here's a really good one. If you want to hit it farther, you have to swing slower. Really? Really? That is ridiculous. If you want to hit it farther, you've got to hit it in the middle and you've got to swing faster. I am so sick to death of people saying, you swing too fast, that's your problem. Look, amateur golfers do not swing too fast. You're a revolution golfer, you love the game. When I miss shots, I'm getting on, I'm on the back nine of my golfing career, that's for sure. When I miss shots, it isn't because I swing too fast. I might swing too soon. If I was swinging too fast, then I would be swinging faster than Bubba Watson, faster than Dustin Johnson, faster than Adam Scott. I'm not. Obviously I'm not. So I don't swing too fast. What players do who aren't hitting the ball the right distance, they are out of sequence. Maybe something goes sooner than it should. It doesn't go faster, it just goes sooner. People swing too soon, they don't swing too fast. I encourage people to try and swing fast as you can. But let me show you a couple of things, and I'm going to tell you a little story. Yeah, Max Berger is there. One of the things that you want to do to increase your club head speed is swing one club as fast as you can that's a bit heavier than your normal and something that's a little bit lighter than your normal. Now what I did here was take a really old golf club that I certainly don't use anymore. I took an absurd amount of duct tape, Gorilla Tape, and I actually taped a golf ball and put it on top of that club. So this golf ball weighs 1.68 ounces. This club is now 1.68 ounces heavier than the one in my right hand. That's not a lot heavier, it's not a lot heavier at all, but it's a bit heavier. So if you take a club that's a bit heavier, and listen, hear me on this one, it doesn't mean that the heavier the club you can swing, the faster you'll swing it. For a long time people thought heavy clubs help you hit it far. They don't. They help you with your flexibility, so they have their part, but they don't help you swing faster. So you take some swings with a club that's a little bit heavier. One ball taped to the top of the club, and you're trying to swing it as fast as you can. Now, I'm not going to have you hit balls with this, but just see if you can get a bit of oompa in that one. Put something into it. Maybe take 5 or 6 swings with that, and then take something that's absolutely other end of the spectrum. Maybe take a little alignment rod, obviously a lot lighter, and see if you can make this swish. I think you can hear that. So you want to practice swinging something that's lighter than your normal golf club. You want to practice swinging something that's a little bit heavier than your golf club. And then I want you to do this. I want you to hit 20 balls with an absolute dislike for that golf ball. I want you to try and bash the cover off the ball. Little story. One of the things about being with the Strixon staff, so proud to be a member of the Strixon staff, is once a year I get with all their A-team, Russell Knox, JB Holmes, Keegan Bradley, Graham McDowell. It's great. And last fall, I was with JB Holmes. Now some of you will remember that JB Holmes about 4 years ago had brain surgery, and he's done very well. We're all very pleased with him. Might even be making the Ryder Cup team, I believe, this year. But in having that brain surgery, there was a big cut in the back of his neck to get it all corrected. And when he came out of it, he didn't have much strength and he didn't have much mobility. And he said when he came back, he was hitting it nicely, he was hitting it straight, but he just couldn't hit it very far. JB Holmes, he couldn't hit it very far. Hard to believe, I know. And he said for about a month he was distraught. He thought, you know, if I don't hit it, he was hitting it 210 yards. Yeah, JB Holmes, 210 yards. He thought, if I don't hit it farther than this, I will not be on the PGA Tour next year. And it just happened that he was leaving one night and he thought, you know, he'd been practicing, he was leaving one night, he thought, I am going to hit 20 balls like a wild thing, as hard as I possibly can. And he hit 20, and he thought, you know, I think that might have helped just a tiny bit. Well, anyway, for 3 months at the end of every practice session, he hit 20 balls to finish his practice session as hard as a man could. he turned temporarily into Fred Flintstone. He turned into a caveman. And he swung absolutely as fast as he could possibly swing. Now, no regard for where the golf ball goes. Total disregard for whether that golf ball ever sees life again. Could be at the bottom of the lake, could be near. Don't care. Don't care. If you do that at the end of your practice session, by the way, don't do that before you go and play. That movie has a very unhappy ending, I can assure you. But if you do that at the end of your practice session, over a period of time, you will create a lot more clubhead speed. Speed has to be trained. When you're young, you've got loads of speed, you don't have to think about it. As you get a bit older, you really, really, really have to work at speed. And here's something that's necessary to know, not good to know. You reach a certain age, and I won't say what it is, but thereafter, physically, all of us, every one of us, your strength diminishes, your flexibility diminishes, your ability to hit the golf ball diminishes. But here's what you can do. You can make that slow down very, very gradual. You don't have to fall off a cliff, but you do need to speed train to avoid that. So, good question. I hope that answers it, Deb.
Absolutely, it does. Thank you for that. But you're hitting on another topic here that we have a handful of our Revolution golfers out there. Age. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So as that's happening, we have actually a question from one of our viewers.
Okay.
His name is Guy. He writes, "Father time is catching up with arthritis hips at too young an age, restricting rotation and have reduced the distance."
Yeah, no, I mean, look, there's optimum golf. It's an interesting question, that is. It's an interesting question. Who's a monster on the tour right now? Jason Day, he's under 30. Jordan Spieth under 30. Let's take the guys who are under 30. When they get to 60, they're not going to be hitting the ball as far as they do now. That's just a fact. But there are things you can do to maximize what you have. You won't be able to, really use the hips a lot as you get older. You won't be able to really use, maximize your kinematic sequence on the way down, although I'd tell you to do your best. But what you certainly can do is learn to use the hands and the wrists correctly and have a lively club head because of that. And you can learn to hit the ball with the draw. So as we get a bit older, with the driver in particular, I think it's really important that we pull the right foot back a little bit, trail foot back a bit. It's really important that you perhaps close up the shoulders a bit and that you really get some wrist at the bottom. And it's really important that with the driver you hit up and turn that club over. The hitting up part, I like to use a launching pad. Some of you may have seen this on Revolution Golf, but never hurts to see it again. If I put a little launching pad there, I just made that. I took a sleeve of golf balls, put it on the front of a piece of cardboard, and I put that just a little bit in front of the ball. And I've got that arrow. I think if we go down the line here with my intrepid director, you can see, I hope you can see, I've got an arrow there pointing out to the right to promote the draw. To great degree, a draw will go, in the real world, in the practical world, a draw will go farther than a fade. So pull the trail foot back, pull the trail shoulder back, really be mindful of giving it a bit of throw with the club head. People talk a lot about lag. Well, you want some lag as you start down, but you don't want lag down here at the bottom. You want to get that club head going. And so as you get older, I like a little hook action in the shot. One of my favorite things to watch is at the Masters every year they have the ceremonial starters. For years it was Saracen, and it was Snead, and it was Byron Nelson. And right now it's Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus. Arnold has just stepped aside. I suspect Tom Watson will be coming in there soon. And as they get older, it's fascinating to me, even into their age, with the exception of Peter Pan, Gary Player himself. But as they get older, they can still hit a wonderful shot off that first tee at Augusta National. And here they come on the tee. Arnold Palmer. I remember the last one he hit, and it wasn't so very easy for him to get there. But once he got there was the waggle. Cock those wrists, cock it and pop it. And here was the swing, and it wasn't Arnold Palmer who won the US Open and the Open Championship in the 60s, but it was an 84-year-old Arnold Palmer who gave it some gave you some club head, didn't move the body, but just whacked it with the hands. Not Arnold Palmer at his finest, but Arnold Palmer at 84, still playing great golf. So I think as you get older, Deb, you have to learn to use the hands. It may not be what you see a Jason Day do now, but maybe when he's 65, maybe that's just how he'll be doing it.
Wonderful. So we can keep playing.
Yeah, I really think, you know, as long as you've got a pair of hands to get the club on the ball, you can keep playing.
I love it. Okay, we're talking about distance, and if your questions aren't addressed here in this demonstration, they will be answered in the DVD. So make sure you pick that up before you leave. Basically, we're talking distance. Everybody wants it.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you could narrow down with your wisdom, what would be the one thing, because there's so much to think about, but the number one thing we need to be concentrating when we're going for distance, what needs to be at the top of our thought process?
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. I touched on it with the smash factor there, but you just can't hear it. The number one thing for distance is to hit the ball in the proper place on the club. To hit it, there's like a little hot spot on the club, and a lot of people have seen this, but it never hurts to do. I actually use Lotrimin foot spray. Some people use different, but if I just spray the face, it really does leave a nice sort of mark on the face there. I'm going to hit the ball in a moment, and it'll leave a mark on the face. They say the older you get, the wiser you get. Well, things I wish I'd known when I was playing the European Tour, 40 years ago, that the contact point is vital on the face of the club. And I don't think it's something that you can take for granted. I'm going to give one a hit here and see what the heck happens. But I think the contact has to be worked at. It's like fitness, it's like diet, it's like a lot of other things. It has to be worked at. So let's see what I get here, see where my hit pattern is with this shot, see what we get. Now, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but Deb, you can certainly see this, and this is an interesting point. That ball was hit very much in the middle of the club. I don't think you'll see it from that distance, but it's very much in the middle of the club, but it's low on the face. Now, when you hit the ball low on the face, you actually add spin, so I would give up some distance. That was very good with what I'd call the west to east on the face, but wasn't so good with the north to south. So for Martin would need to work on I could get more distance by getting the ball a little bit higher on the face. There's no shortcut to that, you have to do it, but knowing it is a big thing. Have we got anything else there?
We're going to do a question let's take Kim from Philadelphia.
Okay.
He wrote to us and he said, not transferring weight properly on the downswing. Top half moves ahead of the legs and hips. So tendency to come over the top, out to in, result weak fade.
Yeah. Further result, unhappiness.
Unhappiness. Not a happy camper.
Look, so the top part of the body moving in front of the ball, yeah, that's a disaster for golf. The top part of the body leaning forwards, absolute disaster for the driver. You're going to either bang it in the ground or hit the thing straight up in the air there. Couple of things you can do. One of my favorite drills is what I call the modified step-in drill. Some of you will have seen this one where you step across, and it's very good for practice swinging. But I like this one for hitting golf balls, so that my lower body leads the downswing, not my upper. Even if I'm trying to hand and arm it, and I mentioned Byron Nelson and Sam Snead, even then, when you look at the 80, they still have a little bit of moving the legs coming down. So plenty of club head speed from the hands and arms, but to stay behind it, practice swinging up to the top. As you finish the backswing, just let the lead foot come up off the ground here. And I call it the stomp, the stamp. As I swing up, I'm going to lift up and stomp. Now when I move down with the lower body, I won't also move forwards with the upper body. So partially, I'm going to give you two pieces to this step, partially to keep my upper body behind it and add speed, I'm going to lift my left foot plain off the ground. Plain off the ground, that's probably the best one I've hit as a matter of fact. And right out of the middle. Plain off the ground to get the lower body leading. The other thing that I think is a great check, and I mentioned this in the DVD, go into this in great depth. Who would have thunk that a small piece of wood like that, one side white, one side black and the top yellow. Who would have thought that would help you keep behind the ball? Well, it does. And Martin Hall's view on golf, the simplicity of golf, it's a very difficult game, it's a very complex game, but as somebody once said to me, complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So if I can boil it down to something that's fairly simple to understand, it will be really good. So I've put this piece of wood here. When I set up, as I glance down, I can see the back of that wood, which is the white side of that wood. If we go down the line with the camera here, we can see the white side of the wood. That's what I'm looking at as I set up, the white side of that piece of wood. As I go to the top, I don't have to hit the ball, I want to create a feeling here. I'm looking at the white side of that wood. As I move the legs and lead with the lower body, I'm looking at the white side of that wood. Now, I don't do this for hitting balls, I do it for practice swinging. I keep it well clear of the golf ball, and I just try and recreate exactly that feeling of the lower body moving forwards, looking at the white side of the wood there, so I can put all that lot together and see what we've got right here. And hit one out there with certainly a bit of sting on it. So I hope that answers that question. I think, have we got any more questions?
We have tons of questions. However, that's what the DVD's for. Is to
okay, good. Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said.
For that, so I think we're going to go to a quick clip here right now.
Okay.
Well, the reason I made this DVD on power is last year on the PGA Tour, the top 5 players in distance won $27 million and won 9 times. The top 5 players in accuracy won $4 million and had no wins. Now, that isn't just a tour level statistic. Mark Brody has helped us understand, from Columbia University, he's helped us understand that the distance you hit the ball is a huge factor in what you'll score. Now, you can't be long and horribly wild. You can't be a wild thing. You've got to keep it somewhere near the short grass. But the longer you hit the ball, potentially, the lower you are going to score. Now, here's the thing with distance. I don't think I've met a player who couldn't hit the ball farther. Maybe Dustin Johnson, but at a club level, Revolution golfers, I would say just about everybody can at least add 15, perhaps 30 yards to the distance. And it's a bit of know-how, and it's a few drills, and it's a bit of work. It is very achievable indeed for people to add distance to the drive. Every lesson I give, if I said, look, for your birthday, would you like another 10 years? Yes! They won't even let me finish the question. Would you like another 10 yards off the tee? Of course they would. Everybody would. And then when they've had that 10, they want another 10. But the great thing is, there are loads of places you can look in the golf swing. From the grip to the setup, to how you take it back, to how you bring it down. Each one of them can add 2, 3, 4 yards. So when you get 6 or 7 things that can add 3, 4, 5 yards, well, it's a domino effect, down, 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 down. When you do that, really just about anybody can add far more distance than they think they might be able to.
And welcome back. All right, what we've all been waiting for, Martin. I'm so excited. I'm gonna have you do that.
Someone's going to be very excited.
This is amazing.
So here we are. I don't know who this is. I hope you're watching. I hope Mike Welsh is watching. There's a Mike Welsh from Whitchurch in England. I wonder if it's him. I don't know. But I hope Mike Welsh is watching, and you're going to be in touch with Mike because you have won a day with me at IBIS, all expenses paid. So terrific. Deb, you better get in touch with Mike Welsh.
All right, there you go.
So here we are. Here's the deal. Build a Better Golf Game is based on my 38 years of teaching experience with over 100,000 students from beginners to tour professionals. These 4 DVDs will show you how to gain up to 30 yards off the tee with just 3 simple setup changes. Make super solid contact with every club in the bag. Doesn't that sound yummy? Get the shot shape you want for power and accuracy. Yes, you do want that, don't you? And how to get up and down from pretty much anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Listen, I 100% guarantee your game is going to improve by putting into practice what I teach in the Build a Better Golf Game training. You have an entire year, 365 days, to watch over 4 hours of teaching distance, solid contact, the short game, simple fixes to nagging fault, and 30 simple yet powerful drills. If you feel my training isn't worth every penny, you'll get all your investment back, no questions asked. To get a copy of Build a Better Game, go to buildabettergolfgame.com/live. I'm Martin Hall. I love golf. I love helping people. Please take a look.
In 3 very different directions, but they were hit with the same swing. And that's why that one went to the target. That's as good a drill as I've got to stop the shank. Sit, be a good girl. Okay, got it. I've been teaching a long time, 38 years as a matter of fact, and a lot of things have changed in that time. The way clubs are made, how golf balls are made, but one thing that hasn't changed is everybody still wants to hit the ball a little bit more distance. Everybody wants a bit more power, and that's what this DVD is all about. I'm going to give you 5 chapters on power, P-O-W-E-R. We're going to prepare you to get going. We're going to give you an order for the backswing. We're going to give you width at the top and wind up. We're going to give you explode on the downswing, and we're going to give you R for release, P-O-W-E-R. So those are the 7 Martin's maxims. One more time. Number 1, solid contact is your highest priority. That's where you get to judge distance from. Number 2, use the least lofted club that will land the ball on the green. Number 3, land it on a flat surface. Number 4, swing the club on your shoulder line. Number 5, the club face is always aimed at your target, even though your body may not be. Number 6, see the shot in your head first. And number 7, the lie of the ball dictates what's possible. Now that is the philosophy of the short game. I've been teaching a long time, 38 years as a matter of fact, and during that 38 years, initially, I thought the most important thing in golf was to be able to hit the ball straight. I have changed my mind. Much more important it is to hit the ball solid. Now solid in this case would mean in the middle of the face and hitting the ball at the ground at the same time. It's no good hitting the ground back here, and it's no good going sort of halfway up the ball. So I've got 6 points to help you strike the ball better off the ground. We're going to talk about the pivot, the pinch, the path, and then we're going to talk about the point, the plug, and the pace of your golf swing. Followed by that, I'm going to have 10 of my very best drills to help you hit it more solid. So let's get cracking, and let's see if I can help you, Revolution golfers, to hit the ball a lot more solid as we go through this program. If I've got a cut, a Band-Aid's helpful. I take it off when I haven't got the cut anymore. Band-Aids in your golf swing, not so very bad. This is where I'm going to talk about faults and cures. This is where Martin Hall takes on the dirty dozen. We're taking on the dirty dozen this afternoon. The slice, the hook, the fat, the thin, the shank, the heel, the toe, poor posture, poor setup with the right hip, bad takeaway, shaft tipper, and chicken wing through the ball. The dirty dozen. Now, these are going to be my best quick tips. These are quick tips. These are going to be my best quick tips after 38 years of teaching to get the car out of the ditch, to stop the bleeding, to get you round tomorrow if you're playing in a corporate outing, or maybe you're just playing your best friend for a few bucks tomorrow morning and you've got a nasty slice or a nasty hook. You just want a couple of thoughts to get you round, get you in, and then at some point be able to practice. So we've got the dirty dozen, we're taking them on. Yes, it's all Band-Aids, it's going to be quick, it's going to be the point, it's what I do when people are struggling, it's how we get the car back on the road. Let's crack on!